Sam, I listened to most of what you said, and I needed to prepare for my session face to face. That's why I went out. But I listened to 80% of your speech, and I'm sure I'll get access to the rest 20% through you or exchange for media. But you did answer. You raised similar questions, and you did answer what should be. Now, there couldn't have been a perfect segue into this session to get in somebody who came from outside the industry, so to say. Mr. Harsha Razdan came from consulting. He came from KPMG, and he steadied Dentsu's ship in India, both from stability, integrity, and performance in a changing landscape. So, Mr. Razdan, we are happy that at the Exchange for Media, E4M Media Confluence Summit, we have you. Please give Mr. Razdan a big round of applause. Bigger round of applause. Thank you. So, Mr. Balsara talked about how we need to bring in data scientists. How do we need to bring young people and, adapt the new through them, so to say, right? He also talked about talent. He talked about structures. Now it's 3 years since you joined Dentsu? Almost, yeah. So, give us few insights into this business. You had a perception of this business from the outside, of the media services business, and you came from a leadership role in KPMG, where you'd worked with venerable clients, and then you stepped into the media services, the advertising services domain. Give us what were your perceptions about this domain which came true, and perceptions which were not true.
Firstly, thank you, Annurag, for inviting me today. And Sam, when he was outside, he gave me the 80% download, and he said that now it's a very difficult act to follow after the guru. But coming back, Annurag, I think the biggest thing was, and Sam's here, Shashi again, these people have taught me a lot in the industry, even before I came in. I used to hear Sam's name when we were kids. And multiple times Shashi and I had met. So I think my base understanding of the industry started off from my early days with people like reading your articles, Sam, and reading things which Shashi and others taught me. When I came in, I think the big thing was, will the industry accept me? And will clients want to engage with a person who's from outside? So firstly, I think both were wrong perceptions. Firstly, the industry was more than accepting. And I would start off with leaders like Sam, Shashi, everyone who sort of helped me even settle down when I came in. And I thank them for that. All of you people, you've been helping me at every stage when I've asked for something.
I could say don't blame it on us, but I won't say that.
No, I won't blame anything at all. I think it's been a wonderful 2.5, 3 years. We've gone through ups and downs. But I don't regret it. I enjoy every moment I've been here, and thank everyone for what I'm here. The second thing was around clients and the kind of understanding or the expectations they have from the industry. It helped me actually being someone from outside. And when I'd come in new, it was not easy for me to meet clients because I don't prefer to meet clients with groups of people. I meet client CEOs one-to-one. And when I asked my own teams for a list of clients, I didn't get it for the first 1.5 months because people are wondering what will he go and say. But little they know, before joining, I'd already met 60 or 70 CEOs because I wanted to know where the starting point was and what I'm starting off with. So I started off meeting first client, second client, and it was all one-to-one. And everyone kept saying, in that industry, typically you grow groups of 6 and 5, and it has to be a show of strength. I said, I don't believe in that. It's a show of mind. It's not about strength or number of people. And slowly, clients said, at least you're talking business. You are willing to accept what has to be changed. A lot of time, the leadership doesn't accept. And of course, to your point, it's heavily disrupting the world, disrupting for the better. Best thing is accept that we have to change. And a lot of people get stuck up in the old world. And you're one person who's willing to change. So come and meet us again. So I would start off by giving this back to you, Annurag, that experience superb with the leaders that I've engaged with. And also the client perception, which I had, which would be allergic to me, honestly, was a lot of love. And more I meet client CEOs, the relationship is becoming stronger and stronger because I know every industry and my company will also take time to mature. But the thinking is right. That's what they say in terms of how the industry is changing or evolving. I wouldn't say disrupting, evolving is the right word.
Harsha, the topic is from segmentation to fusion, building brands in a platform fluid world. Now you talked about yourself in terms of fusion, in the 3 years itself that you've been at the helm of affairs at Dentsu, what is the most significant change in the services? What are the new services that you have kind of offered and they have been adopted? Give us an example to show what is happening in terms of change in the media services domain.
Yeah, I believe the CEOs and CMOs of clients don't worry about whether you're from a media background, creative background, digital background. They care about problems being solved. I think that's what Sam also would have said eventually. And it's very important for us to be the best friend of CMO. Put yourself in the CMO shoes and say what he or she has to go through. Currently, there are multiple partners he or she meets up with, multiple startups writing into him. And I'm sure it's extremely confusing for the gentleman or lady. Now you flip it across and think you're going to be in his or her shoes and try and solve for his or her problems. I think that's at the starting point. Two, for Dentsu, we always had this model called the One Dentsu operating model. It's a model which runs in Japan for multiple years, since the last 100 odd years, where top clients are into a client servicing mode. One person leads the client, unlike you have creative media agencies. We call it the sandwich mode, where if you're a creative background person and you're leading a large client, then 50% of your appraisal comes from the client growth and 50% comes from the family you come from. That helps evolve people very, very well. So we've established that in 2024 January and have run 2 full years in that very, very clearly. What this also meant, we had to add more services, Annurag, that you said. And when I came in, we were like a car with 2 tires, a media tire and a creative tire, maybe half punctured. And I had to build a car with 4 tires. The third tire was a technology-based tire, where we acquired some companies. And the fourth was specialized services like entertainment sports, which we just launched, our B2B business, and the retail media business. So it was essentially solving a 360 approach for large clients. And for smaller clients, they will individually go for a creative media and tech services. So that was the story, I would say, for the last 3 years.
In fact, Sam, towards the fag end of, was talking about that how he was a pioneer, where he won Colgate Palmolive's AOR, so to say, right? And now he sees the world where it is more integrated, like you're saying, creative and all other services, and so again there is complete sync in what he was saying and what he's saying.
And Anurag, actually, it's, and Sam and you will understand better, this is how the industry used to be in the 90s.
Absolutely.
When I was a brand manager at PepsiCo, then it was almost integrated. We never worried about who was coming in. So we are going
full. We used to use the term full service ad agency.
Correct. That's how you're
then
going
the media, and the big holy grail was unbundling of services, right? And specialized services. And now there is a trend, as you talked about integration, Sam talked of bundling, one owner focusing on growth. Now let me also go into brands want to be on every platform. Some already have traction, some may gain traction, whether it's reels to retail media, but sometimes it looks like it's scattered. Where do you think the balance lies between being everywhere and being effective?
So I think the trick is not being everywhere, it's about relevance. And relevance means effectiveness. What I mean by this is that in the earlier days, maybe in the 1990s, it was about one big ad, you're done with, it was simpler. Now the market is fragmenting very fast with a lot of digital medium coming in. And firstly, you have to understand, and at the core of it is, I would say, the brand ethos, brand purpose, brand soul. Firstly, I think each brand manager needs to understand what their brand ethos is and then get it to come alive in that particular channel of communication. Each channel of communication will have a different story to play out, and the story has to be loved, or the consumer has to empathize with the story. That's the way I look at it. If you're not able to get a story which empathizes, then I think it's not worth being on the channel, because you've not got, it's not going to help just being on the channel. I look at it as if you're creating music. Music could be played with one instrument, two instruments or multiple instruments, but if the soul or the core of the music being played is understood, it doesn't matter which instrument it is. It has to be relevant to the audience that is understanding it. So that's what I would say.
Again, Sam talked about data. In Dentsu, you always say we blend creativity with data. How do you ensure that these data points don't kill creativity, rather enhance creativity, so to say?
So Anurag, very good question. This is a discussion that happens almost every day. And the way I look at it is that too much data will kill creativity. Too less data makes you blind. So there's a balance that's required. And the way I tell people is that use data to think, understand why the consumer is asking for certain things, why we're not able to answer certain questions. Inform yourself in terms of what your actions could be. That is what data should be used for. Technology, again, a similar thing, I would say that technology is not to be seen as a critique for us. It's almost that they are co-drivers, partners for us. Use them to become or showcase your brand in a better manner by using technology rather than trying to fight it. So use data for understanding the consumer and then apply a human creative lens around it.
Harsha, one of the things is about how do you attract better talent? How do you bring people that are not from this domain, that bring more skills which are needed in today's world to the domain? Young people, middle-level people, entry-level people. You came from, of course you started as a brand manager, but you went into consulting and working with clients on a larger, let's say, canvas, right? Do you think this domain of media services and the advertising, media, marketing services domain has the ability to attract the kind of talent that can reinvent what the media services agencies are offering, or is it a pipe dream?
I think we surely have it in the core, and I'm sure Sam said it earlier today. We have to have leaders stepping up and showing the way. And it's a difficult path because it'll discomfort a lot of our senior leadership. I know when I had launched the One Dentsu operating model and the new services, the most inconvenience for my leadership team, because they thought they had everything under control. But I realized when you unpeel the onion, the level 2s and level 3s are just buzzing with energy and trying to do something new. So I would say the leadership has to show the path. And lead from the front. It's going to be a difficult path, but leaders will have to lead from the front. If you don't, then we're just going to solve the problem around the bushes.
See, you've been a management consultant, you've been a brand manager, now CEO of a media services company. The two things classic in when you reinvent, one is to take the costs away. The second is to simplify the structure. And both sometimes go hand in hand. Do you think that model can be used in the media services context, where a lot of costs are stacked up in the top layer of management? And second is, how do you simplify the structure? So give us a sense of how do you think about it?
So surely I think costs will depend company on company, but very clearly it happens in every corporation where the costs gravitate to the top. And if you're disrupting so fast, again, the leader or the CEO or the chairman has to ensure that we have the right reportees or C-suite people who are ready for the next 5-7 years. And that's a very difficult decision to make, but it'll have to be made. Unless you make that, and you'll have the news agencies going after you. You'll be saying that, okay, XYZ has left your company. But I think the hard decision will have to be made, because if you don't make it, it's a bad starting point, very clearly. Certainly cost cutting across the agency network is more like trimming fat. I would say beyond a point you can't cut to the bone. So be optimized, but don't cut to the bone. The core reason is going to be, can we innovate with the new list of people that we have in mind and the people who are there in the company. I think in generally my feeling from the outside is that the number of leaders that have come in or across the system that have come in into the advertising and media world has reduced over years when I compare to other industries in general, or even the supply side. We have to motivate people to come in and clear paths or give them runways to be future CEOs future leaders of the company. And we can only do that by making some change. So it's going to be a difficult one, but it has to be led from the top.
And people have role models, you know. When we were in advertising, I was in advertising, there was a Mike Khanna, and there were many other leaders, you know. I mean, they were very towering personalities, both in terms of what they built and in their own outlook. And there are many over the last 2.5 decades of the exchange for media journey that I've met. Now, how do you create those leaders which have both the skills from the old world and integrate the skills from the, so to say, new world that is emerging, the world of AI, the world of data, the world of platforms?
So, Anurag, it's again very simple as you and I talk. If you have to lose weight, let's say, for example, you need to agree that you need to lose weight. So firstly, I think the leaders need to recognize that there is a problem and we are trying to solve for it for our own companies or for the industry. And if you just beat around the bush, the answer will also not be optimal. It will be the same answer which happened last year. We're not going to have different results. So own and sort of understand what has to be done. Be ready to take hard calls. Hard calls mean that do the right thing for the larger organization. I've also taken some hard calls over the last year or two on senior leadership. But the way I think of it is that if 2,800 people in an organization benefit from the decision, then I'm doing the right thing for the organization to move forward. I can never make everyone in the organization happy with every decision. It's not possible.
You don't sell ice creams.
Yeah, you don't. Even with ice creams, you can't make everyone happy. Someone will want to eat more ice creams than the others. But the fact is that some people will be unhappy. As long as most people in the organization are agreeing with a decision, take the decision and move forward. It's the CEO's job to take the decision. Some may be wrong, some may be right. But do the right thing for the company and the industry. Otherwise, you'll have the same result that you had for the last many years.
You know, Harsha, if I had to ask you, because you've kind of seen both the worlds, the non-media services world, the consulting world, if there was an agency of the future or a, you know, services firm of the future, what would it look like?
Yeah, let me try and summarize in maybe a phrase. The agency should think in data terms, use data to think, speak in the language or culture. In India has different states, different communities, to speak in culture and act with a humanitarian intent, I would say. Slowly, agencies which are only data and talking the language and not human will not succeed because everything will become common. And the differentiation will come in terms of the human element which comes in. So a mix of the three, I would say, is what a future agency should think about.
Let me, since as a custodian of Dentsu's brand and business in India, you work with clients and brand. What does the brand of future look like? You know, so to say, of course, different industries and have different brand journeys. Brands are at different stages of their brand journey. But if you had to look at commonalities, what would be a brand of future be doing in terms of winning the consumers of today?
I think firstly, the brands themselves need to understand their purpose, ethos, reason to exist. And the reason to exist may not be the same as in the past. For example, when I look at, no disrespect, but we look at toilet paper, kitchen rolls, it will not enjoy the same love that you would have for a personal care shampoo or a cream to be applied on the face.
Don't use both of them, but neither a shampoo nor a cream, but I look beautiful without that.
Yeah, but the point I was making is that understand where you're coming from. And
you're talking of very touchy things, weight, shampoo, cream.
Yeah, you've teed me up after Sam, so there's nothing else I can talk better of. So I'm trying to make light of whatever discussion I have. But the fact is that brands need to understand the ethos and understand where they're coming from. There was a research our team had done and actually read off before I joined advertising industry, was that on a phone, how many apps can a consumer actively engage with? Actively. And you have 100, 150 apps, but how much do you engage with actively? And they said less than 20 or 25 for the year. So I'm just saying that if you are in an industry which is not going to be like again, wrong example again, but if it's toilet paper or something, you're trying to create an app for yourself, the probability that someone will engage in your app, There has to be a better hook than just having a D2C app on someone's phone. So understand where you're starting from, and then try and find relevant ways to engage with the consumer through stories, through influencers. If a particular channel or media doesn't sink in, don't do it. Don't do it for the heck of it. Get your story right and then go in. Otherwise, eventually it's not going to build the brand.
Harsha, since you came from outside and you're very open to taking the best practices and learning from everybody else in the business, are there agency ecosystems within India or outside India that you admire and you learned from?
See, I think a lot of the startup agencies which are outside of the country, especially, and talked about in Europe, US, which are niche, are being able to scale rapidly. We talked about some of them earlier today. I think the new age agency world is going to be very tech-oriented, using data, moving fast, less overheads, being able to solve for client problems. Also understanding that AI is going to play a role in terms of moving fast. I admire many agencies, and one of the examples of not an agency but a campaign which I love is this whole campaign from Nike. Some years back with Serena Williams, and they had done analysis of Serena when she started off playing tennis to when she became world champion, and they used data to track the kind of shots she played when she was young to when she became, let's say, 21, 22 Grand Slams down, and made the older version of Serena play the younger version and try and see why she was winning on certain things. This was created like a match on YouTube apparently, and had huge viewership on that time. But I think a campaign such as this and using data, trying to play out, is something which sticks out. And whichever agency thought of that was not, I don't think, one of the top few. It was a new innovative agency who thought will disrupt the whole thing. So things like this, I would say, are new, but I would say the newer age agencies of scale, I talk of scale, which are outside of the country, are always inspiring to me in terms of how come they're scaling so fast and how come others are not. So that's been the story.
And again, Harsha, you lead Dentsu here, you'll complete 3 years in Jan, right? If we had to talk of a Dentsu 2-3 years from now, I'm talking Dentsu India, what does the road look like? What does the future look like? What are your plans that you can talk on stage for the next 12, 18 months?
See, our aim is to be a tech into marketing company, and if you look at the Dentsu journey, the first few years before I came in was around multiple acquisitions. Last 3 years was consolidation and getting in a few more new areas, like we've got a podcast company, and we've got a rapid influencer company, and we've got a tech company over the last 3 years. The next few years will be around scaling and going 360 for the consumer, exactly as Sam said, and acquiring where the need is this. Not acquiring just because we need scale, but we have to be relevant and impactful in the domain that we are doing. I don't think scale is going to be a defining criteria in the industry. Tech is a big leveler, and it'll level even more across industries. So getting more of my third and fourth wheel of my car working, and getting a balanced portfolio, so that wherever I drive my car, it's a balanced portfolio. Even if it's a smaller car, it's fine, but it's profitable, it's impactful, and over a period of time more relevant to clients and agencies.
Thank you, Harsha. We have Mr. Harsha Razdan here. I could take 1 or 2 questions from the audience. We still have almost 90 seconds to go. Any questions from the audience?
Here's a good time. If you just have a question, raise your hand. We'll come to you.
Okay, there is no question. I'll ask the last question.
So there's one.
Where? Yes, the
Right
lady there.
My name is Anuradha. I represent Tamada Media. My question is, there are 2 lenses to doing creative campaigns. One is your viral, bold marketing that we see off late. It picks up here and there, and you see them in a lot of BTL activities. Versus impactful campaign where I remember Fevicol, Puma or Nike. What is your take on these way of doing it, 2 ways, in terms of short span of time and long run?
So again, I think if it's not only time as a lens, it's also about aspiration for the brand. It's about the target segment. It's about the money you have. But I think there's no clear answer. And if you ask me, I will say there is a objective, impactful campaigns create. There's also a objective served by large-scale media channels. There's also objective served by the Googles and Metas of the world. You have to understand what relevance you're creating, what love you're creating for the consumers on that particular channel for your brand. So that's the key thing. I don't think it's about what's better or not. Everything has its own place. As I say, water finds its own level. And you have to find the right mix. That would be it.
Thank you so much. Harsha, my only question is, what's a book that you read recently and you'd like to recommend? If at all you get any time to read books.
Yeah, but I think there's one book Naval has given me. I've still not read it, Naval, to be honest. But the book that I would recommend reading is this Simon Sinek book called Infinite Game. And it's a beautiful book which talks about no one is a first or a second. It's about relative positioning. You may be leading some of the others today and tomorrow someone else is ahead of you. But the trick is, on most days, you have to be better than most competition to be more successful. I think that's in summary.
Fantastic. I'll give you my two, which I'm currently reading. One's called Empire of AI. It's written by Karen Howe. She used to work with Sam The book's subtitle is Dreams and Nightmares in Sam Altman's OpenAI. It will make you not sleep at night. And the other book that I just picked up last week, it's called Adrift by Scott Galloway. It is about history from 1945 till now. And you looking at the history, he's trying to predict the future. So these are two lovely books, and please give Mr. Harsha Razdan a big round of applause.
Thank you, man.
Give him a bigger round of applause.